when I messaged you initially, I said, like, sorry for the late notice, but it's because we were waiting for you to actually get an official opponent. I'm not gonna lie, mate. I was starting to get a bit worried that it wasn't gonna happen. Was it close for you?
So was I. Like, I've had so many names bashed around, and I've been like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll have him, yeah, I'll have him, yeah, I'll have him, and then constantly getting messages back from me and Dean saying he said no, he doesn't want it. His manager said no, his coach said no. So it was getting to the point, it was getting squeaky bum time for me as well, where I was thinking, Jesus, done a full fight camp here and just cannot get anyone to get over for me. I had a couple with visa issues as well. A couple of guys from far away. A couple, yeah, that's one of them. It's like, how can you can't really prepare for that, can you? A visa issue of someone who said yeah, and then eventually, about a week ago, I got Girlean. I have to edit that out, lads. I don't even know what to say his name.
I, I,
Girlean or something.
Girlean, I guess, but I could be pronouncing that wrong. So you're all good, mate. I don't know.
Neither do I. Doesn't matter at the end of the day, does it? He's got in there, signed a contract, fair play, but I'm going to absolutely bury him. And it's simple as.
Like, I I've seen you say multiple times about not getting opponents and struggling
Mm.
to find guys, which uh I can understand why that's so frustrating when you just want to keep progressing. You have managed to stay pretty active, especially for Cage Warriors to regularly find you fights and stuff like that. I think that they have done a really good job. But then the counter flip to that is you're finishing guys in the first round. So realistically, that makes sense why you're so active because you're fresh to fight like right after you've just been. Like how frustrating has that process been over the last like 6 months with just trying to get someone to sign on the dotted line?
Do you know what, lads? It's been since my second pro fight.
Really?
Since my second pro fight, I think I've each fight camp I've had like 7 different opponents and no's and blag injuries and all that. And the main reason I'm doing this sport is because I like competition. Like, I want to test myself. I want to find out if I'm as good as I say I am. The only way you can do that is by fighting progressively tougher and tougher opposition until there's no one left in Cage Warriors, and then you go to the UFC and then you fight tougher and tougher opposition until you reach the belt.
Mm.
That's like what everyone's goal should be. So I'm always constantly asking for tougher competition. Cage Warriors are always happy to give me tough competition, but it always comes down to asking these guys, do you want to fight Adam Cullen? And all of them completely shit the pants every time. Every lightweight on Cage Warriors who you've seen before or whatever, I've been offered all of them and they've all flapped it. What else can you do? I've been, you know, like you say, you've heard me say it before. I've been banging on about it for ages. I want to fight people who are good. I think I'm the best, and they're going and seeing, thinking they're the best, and blah blah blah. Well, go ahead then, let's have it. Do you know what I mean? Like, what are we wait? You know, what are we wasting time for? They
Yeah.
don't want to. I honestly think that there should be like a platform where it goes on and it says Cage Warriors is offered Adam Cullen, blah blah, whoever, Joe Blogs, and it should publish where it say Joe Blogs said no because he shit his pants and his coach is gonna have to wipe his ass for him. That should be published so everyone can see. But instead, people can turn you down behind closed doors and then go on a podcast like this and go, I'll fight anyone. Get me anyone. I want to be the champion. I'm going to be in the UFC. But no one knows that they're just shitting himself off just some weirdo like me that they don't want to fight. Like, what's so scary about me? Like you say, I've not even fought 5 minutes of cage time. Like, I'm a young puppy. Like, what you scared? What you
Mm.
scared for?
Yeah, I suppose the big benefit I think with this card for the April 15th card in Manchester is that you've got George in the main event, and the common kind of opinion is that if you defend the Cage Warriors title twice, you're probably not going to be there for the third time. So with that, and with you being on the same card, eventually it's going to get to the point where they're going to have to find someone to fight for potentially a vacant title. And at that point, maybe that's enough to entice someone to fight you. Like, you're at that point now where, especially by competing on this card the same night as George, you're lined right up for that shot, right? So there won't be a chance to deny you like that longer. So like I get what you mean when you're like, why not fight me now? You know?
That's the thing. If you need a shiny belt to entice you, like what, It doesn't mean. Well, what's that mean? Like at the end of the day, I'm only trying to prove to myself how good I am. So I don't need
Mm.
anyone else to pat me on the back or go, here's a belt or whatever. I'm in this for me and I'm challenging myself. I want to fight our people. If you need a bit of a belt and a bit of someone to go, yeah, oh, he's a world champion and all that shit to do it, then okay, fair enough. But for me, that's not the motivation. The motivation's being the UFC champion. So whether I have the belt or don't have the belt, I'm not asked. If all these people that have turned me down previously want to fight for me for the belt, sound. But for me going into that fight, that's just a mental. I'm winning. You're 1-0 me because you
Mm.
couldn't fight me until there was a belt on the line. For me, that's a mental win, isn't it? Like you flapped it. Like I know you're scared of me now. Like sound, if you want to fight me for the belt, but I already know you're scared of me. So whatever, they'll get fucked either way. Doesn't matter if it's a 5-round title shot or not. They're gonna get buried.
We spoke before we recorded about the kind of, I want to say second wave, but that might be unfair. But this wave of next gen guys that are coming through with yourself, with Shem, with Nathan Fletcher, with Luke Riley, of course, as well. Like I watched the YouTube video that Next Gen put up of you just spending a day training, and you're on the mats with all those guys, Matt Bonner as well, of course, like, and obviously Paddy and Molly dropping in as well. Like
Liam
if
Gittins as well. People forget
yeah,
about him. Killer.
yeah, for sure. Like it feels like all of you guys, with now that Paddy and Molly have reached that like stardom level, which is mental. It feels like all you guys are coming through and you're like just below the surface of breaking through to really big things. Like this Manchester card was basically builders come and watch a bunch of the next gen guys in big fights. Like
Literally. And that's why it should be in the Echo Arena, shouldn't it? Like, what we're wasting time in Manchester for, get it to Liverpool. That's what I've been saying. But
yeah,
yeah, I think you're right.
they don't want to host MMA events anymore
I think
because of the MNS name. It's just like that.
yeah, I think you could. I think you could if you really wanted to. I think Graham Boylan might have to have a word with him, might he? He's the man with the power. He'll tell them, listen, M&S lads, we're having fucking gauge what he says, so shut up. Sit down. But yeah, like you say, it's massive. What's developing in our gym at the minute?
Hmm.
We're all fighting in this big shows, and like you say, would Cage Warriors be in Manchester if it wasn't for us? People might say it would be, but personally, I don't think it would be. Um, all our lads are carrying that card, and what people are buying tickets to come and see, and it's good to get the recognition that I think we deserve, and it's good to see the lads get the recognition because I know how hard all them work, and to getting the payoff where people are finally putting eyeballs on them. Yeah, it's probably thanks to Paddy and Molly that people have starting to notice us a lot more. But I just can't wait to watch all the lads go out and smash some people that are meant to be tough fights, and everyone's going to realise very quickly that none of them are tough fights, and people are going to realise I think, again, be reminded just how good our gym is. We are on another level to everyone in the UK at the minute, and that Manchester show, we're going to just take the roof off.
Yeah, it just reminds me of the Cage Warriors like boom period where you had Paddy, Molly, and Fishgold all around world titles, like one win away, and it worked out perfectly because they were all there at the same time. But I think there's a real possibility that they're gonna have that on their hands again with yourself. With Luke is right around that position now. Obviously Nathan Fletcher as well. Like they could have another opportunity where they've got three next gen guys competing for world titles like
Four,
really
but even
soon.
Bonner
Yeah, of
McStanton's
course,
the
yeah.
fight that should be getting made as well. So, like you say, within the next 6 months, we could genuinely have 4 Cage Warrior titles in our gym. And I don't think anyone would be surprised, though.
Mm.
And we especially wouldn't be surprised in our gym because, like I say, we know that the level we're on and the level everyone's at in the gym, and you see it, people sparring rounds, and watch everyone train together, and you just think, wow, like he is fantastic, or they're fantastic, and I'm so confident that the momentum our gym has got at the minute from, and obviously the notoriety from Paddy and Molly is going to continue because we're flying, and I just don't see who's going to stop us really at the minute.
Yeah. I've got one final question for you. I've interviewed many fighters that might have just come off of a building site, something like that, right? Those jobs that you hear about fighters having whilst they work their way up through the ranks. An oil refinery is a new one though. I've not had that one before. How do you even get into that?
I just did it as an apprentice outside after school. Like I remember finishing school like at 16. It was like, what do you want to do? But it was at the point where it just started MMA, and it was like, you can't really say you want to do MMA like, yeah, lad, because everyone's going to laugh at you.
Right.
And my brothers were doing that, and I was just a bit like, yeah, go ahead, I'll just go and do that then. And then I remember the whole time I was like training to do my job now, and it's like, oh, when you finish the training, you're going to work on the oil refinery and all that shit. I was just thinking, I just want to be in the UFC, mate. Hopefully, I'm in the UFC by the time that comes. But yeah, that's me. Just after work training around that, and do you know what? It's good. It's a good job, and it's ideal for doing what I do because I get a lot of time to train, and hopefully, lad, I won't be doing it when coming in a year's time when I'm signed to the UFC or whatnot. But it's all a part of the story, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's tough, and working night shifts and stuff like that, and then having to get up and train hard. It's tough, but it's only stuff that makes you mentally stronger, and I know that's why I've got an unbreakable will. And when I get in there with someone, they've got no chance.
Yeah, mate. Makes total sense. I'm absolutely buzzing for this card, mate. I can't wait for the fights. Thank you so much for your time. All the best with it. I will see you up in Manchester. I think it's gonna be a good night for the next gen boys. I don't wanna go early on the predictions, but
I'll go early for you, lad. It's going to be a massive night, and I cannot wait.
for sure, mate. Also, keep up the social media posts where all the fighters on the poster are your face because they get me every time.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's the official Cage Warriors poster.
Oh, my bad. I must have gone the wrong way around.
Yeah, I think so, lad. I think so.
Yeah. All right, nice one, mate. Cheers for your time.
Nice one. Cheers.
Have a good rest of the day. See ya.